you got to add that on. That's valuable time. And by the way, yes, everybody's got to get to work, right? But how much time are you allotting for your commute?
This is Secrets for Success.
Welcome to the Secrets for Success podcast. I'm your host, Greg Todd. Thank you, as always, for joining me. Today's episode is going to be about burnout. It's going to be a little bit about my story when I was a clinician and my body kind of took a poop. That's what I want to talk about today. And I'm not going to spend a ton of time on my story, but I think it's important that if I'm going to talk about something, it needs to be something that like I've experienced firsthand. And burnout is something that I have experienced firsthand. So the story kind of goes like this. 2009, I was training for the San Francisco Marathon, and the San Francisco Marathon was in late July. My family, we were gonna do. I was gonna do the marathon, and then we were gonna do our summer family vacation out in San Francisco. And when I came back, I started noticing some changes to my body. Usually when you run a marathon, you kind of recover for a couple weeks and then you're right back into training because that's what you do as a runner. And my body just wasn't coming back. It just wasn't recovering. And I remember Labor Day weekend, we were doing a retreat for our staff at a place in Reddington Beach. And I just remember one morning, it was a Sunday morning, myself and my business partner, I had two business partners at a time, and we got ourselves condos there each, and they were trying to get me up so I can go to Sam's Club and go get all the burgers and everything for when the staff were to come over. I couldn't get up. And so that was my first, start of feeling what burnout feels like. And shortly thereafter, I went into full shutdown mode. My body, I couldn't even get up. I could barely eat. I was throwing up. It was really bad. Like I physically broke down, mentally broke down, and it was a hot mess. So I say all that because I do understand that there are not only signs and symptoms. I think we can all agree that, hey, you start to feel irritable, this, that, and I know it shows up differently with different people, but it's very dangerous for those of us that are in healthcare to be mindful of, your body. And if I would have known, like these are things 17 years after my first burnout episode, I wish I would have understood. That's what I'm going to talk about in this episode. So, there's 5 things that if I was you guys, and by the way, I'm going to actually give you a calculator for you all to track this totally free, just something that if your body's feeling good, just use this to track what you're doing. If your body's not feeling good, use this. And if you track these 5 things that I'm about to talk about, it'll probably tell you why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. Be careful. I nearly killed myself. And the episode to where I nearly croaked was in 2012. So I say all that because I don't want any of this to happen to anyone. And if I wasn't granted a second chance, would I have done all the things that, God has allowed me to do in healthcare? Probably not. And I nearly didn't make it. And it was bad, y'all. I say it was bad. So anyways, let's get into the 5 things. I think one of the most underrated things that you can do for your body is sleep. I am such a sleep geek today, and I wasn't before. I thought almost like being tired is a badge of honor, No, it's not. I would rather get good sleep over any workout. And this is coming from somebody that used to do marathons, that does F45, that works, does all the lifting, the running, the CrossFit. Sleep needs to be such a priority, whether that is 6 hours for you, that's 7 hours or 8 hours or 9 hours, but really just watching your sleep. I would highly invest having some type of sleep tracker, whether that's a Oura Ring or it's another tracker that's monitoring your deep sleep, monitoring your REM sleep, monitoring your ability to fall asleep, how much you're waking up. All of these things, if you monitor them, are actually things that are fixable. and it makes all the difference in the world. And I wish if I could go back and talk to my former self of 2007, 2008, 2009, until that thing happened to me after the San Francisco Marathon. And basically, I'm still suffering from it. How many years later now? 17 years later. It's been crazy. So I would say sleep is a big thing. To watch your sleep, to track your sleep, to make sure that you're getting ample enough sleep, especially getting deep sleep so that your body actually recovers and restores. That would be number one. Number two, I would say, is just be mindful of how much time you're spending with patient care. Like how much time are you spending with patient care? And I'm just thinking of like the things that I did in my first 2 years. I worked 2 jobs, and I worked about 45 to 50 hours a week at my full-time job, which I was getting paid 40 hours for. But then I also worked another 10 to 15 hours a week at my part-time job, and so you start, and then I was doing continuing education courses on the weekend. So it's just, you're putting a lot into not only patient care, as in you're working on people, but you're taking their burdens and their problems and their struggles. So anyways, just something to be mindful of how much patient care you're actually doing. So that's number two. Number three, I would say, is it's one thing to do patient care. It's a whole nother thing to do the administrative side of it. And everybody does administrative. Everyone does, right? Some of us, we're doing the administrative with regards to note taking and documentation. For some of us, we're business owners and we're having to do the administration of payroll and overseeing other staff, et cetera, et cetera. How much time are you spending with that? It's one thing, okay, I've got my treatment time over here, but how much time are you spending with documentation and note taking, et cetera? So that's something I think is really important for you to consider. Number four, I would say, is your commute. It's your commute. It's one thing. Yeah, you're going to work, you're doing your thing. All right, how much time are you actually spending in the car? How much time? You got to add that on. That's valuable time. And by the way, yes, everybody's got to get to work, right? But how much time are you allotting for your commute and transportation to get to work? Okay, and then the fifth thing, at least for me, is family. I'm not talking about Greg time. I'm talking about family and lifetime. On the weekends back then, the kids were young, so it's like every weekend there's something going on, whether it is a soccer game, whether it's a baseball game, whether it is another kid's party, it is, one of your kids' parties, it's a church event, it's this, it's that. So what's going on from your family and life standpoint? And when you add those 5 things, the sleep, the patient care, your charting and documentation, and admin time, your commute, and you're adding in family life, how much time is left for you? Like, how much time is left for you to actually spend on either me time, mat time, or magic time? Me time is time for me to re-energize myself physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. My mat time is time for me just to decompress. That might be watching a show on Hulu or Netflix or Amazon or whatever. Like, just chill. Like, just chill time. How much time do you even have for that? And then, your magic time. Some of you, when you start to add these things up, you realize, man, I'm in a crappy situation. Well, how much time do you actually have allocated to actually make magic happen? To use your ability to think and to create new solutions to people's problems so that you can create value in the marketplace and maybe get yourself out of the crap situation you're in right now. I call this the burnout clock. And so I've actually created a clock. It's just a one pager that allows you to scroll and look at how much time you allocating to sleep a week, how much time are you allocating to patient care, how much time are you allocating to charting and admin, how much time are you allocating to your commute, how much time are you allocating to family and life. And then what you're going to see below it is you're going to see how much time is accounted for every week of the 168, and then 168 hours is what I'm talking about. And then how many hours are not accounted for that is actually your personal time. And that is not sleep. I'm talking about your time for you to be like, oh. Now, I'm not saying every single minute. Actually, you know what? I am saying it. Every minute does need to be accounted for. But some of it might be mat time, which is messing around time. Some of it might be your magic time because you need to get yourself out of the crap situation you're in. Some of the time might be your me time. Say, hey, you know what? My situation is my situation. It's a good situation long term, but I need to make sure I take care of me so that I don't end up like Greg. That's it. It's a burnout clock. I want you guys to go ahead and reply text clock, I should say, to 813-534-6453 if you want it. I would just say, just be mindful of what you're doing. It really can get to be messy, and I don't want it to be messy for you guys. All right? So text clock to 813-534-6453 if you want it. You can start to use it, track it on a daily basis, track it on a weekly basis, and see where you're at. And don't do that to your body. Come on. You deserve better. Your body deserves better. Love you guys.